Today we're going to be discussing a topic that is very dear to me. It's the truth about strength training for runners. Now, I know that there are a lot of persons who, even though they're involved in sporting activities, they are a little bit scared of going into the gym and doing any strength training for various reasons. The common thing I will get from the female population is that they're afraid that they're going to get, really big and muscular and bulky. From the male side, sometimes you'll get that kind of response as well, especially in younger males. I think the current trend is, slim jeans and, these young men nowadays, they want to look slim. I don't know if that's the aesthetic that is going out there, in terms of male-female interaction at the younger age group. But they tend to want to remain, in this kind of slim build type of thing, right? But there are a lot of positives around strength training for athletes and for people who are involved in sports where running plays a major factor, right? And just going to dive right into them, not in any specific order, but listing them out as they come. All right. So one, very important, is injury prevention, and strength training plays a very vital role in helping to prevent injuries. Now, you're involved in sports, and even if it's not like a collision sport like a football or a contact sport like soccer, what we in Jamaica call football, but Americans call it soccer, netball, um, basketball, volleyball to a certain extent, cricket to a minor extent. Um, that there's a possibility for injuries. So by doing strength training, it improves your ability to produce forces, yes, but also to absorb forces. All right. And strength training, by that measure, is very critical for helping with injury prevention. Any sport that if you are going to train for and compete in is going to involve some repetitive motion. And for that reason, you want to strengthen up the muscles to be able to absorb those types of loads. You want to strengthen up the joints themselves in order to help to reduce the type of injuries that we call repetitive injuries, and also some collision type injuries, because the more you're able to absorb certain forces is the less likely it is that those forces are gonna cause injuries. All right. Some of the common injuries that strength training can help to reduce is shin splints, IT band syndrome, runner's knee, certain types of shoulder injuries in people who do overhead sports. So if you do a lot of swimming or any sport that involves you moving the hand over your head, like swimming, like volleyball, like cricket, like basketball, where you have to throw the hands up to block shots as well as to actually take a shot at the basket. Those types of repetitive activities can be reduced by strategically strengthening up the body. All right, so by incorporating exercises like rotator cuff strengtheners, squats, lunges, planks, those help to tighten up the control of the muscles around the joints and therefore reduce your injury risk. All right, so number one, injury prevention. And we all know that injuries are part of sport, right? It's not as if you can completely prevent injuries, but you can help to reduce the possibility of getting an injury. All right. So I would encourage you, if for none of the other reasons that I'm going to express on this slide, that for the injury prevention benefits that you get on a proper strength training program. Okay. The other one is improving your movement economy, right? For those of us that do running sports like track and field, that will improve your running economy. What that means is that you will use less energy, right? So when you become stronger, you use less energy to do the same tasks, and that makes you way more efficient. Now think about it. If I have to run from here to, maybe like a 400 meters for whatever reason, right? With my current level of strength, I'm going to become fatigued earlier than if I was stronger, right? So my muscles would fatigue a lot less if I was stronger. Right? So when the fatigue sets in, now other muscles are being brought into play, or now I start to load a lot of my ligaments and joints to try and produce that result of moving in the space that I'm moving. And that in itself puts me in a disadvantageous position, right? Meaning that now I'm not moving with the same level of efficiency because I don't have the strength to continue pushing myself to repeat these movements that are important in sports, all right, are important to my chosen sport. So the second important reason for getting an improvement in strength is to improve your movement economy, meaning your ability to complete different movements without fatigue, all right, or efficiently. So we've covered two important reasons so far. One of them being injury reduction or injury prevention, and the second one being improvement in your movement economy. All right. Then of course there are certain types of exercises. Your deadlifts improves what you would call your muscular coordination, or your ability to recruit the muscles in a way that is more efficient. All right, and therefore it makes you stronger, smoother movements, because now all muscles are moving together in a more efficient way. All right. The third important reason is an enhancement in your speed and power. Now remember, speed is your ability to move from one place to the next, right? Quickly. So it's the rate of movement over time. So, and strength training has been proven to actually improve speed. To a matter of fact, I remember the last coaching book that I read this summer as I was preparing to go back to training, when the schools reopen, the university reopens, and when the high schools reopen, there was a specific statement that was made, and it said strength equals speed. All right? And yes, there's a point where you're strong enough and strength isn't the limiting factor. But the truth is, for the majority of athletes that are developing still, strength equals speed. So by incorporating your slow strength movements like your squats, your deadlifts, your lunges, we call these slow strength because you're not really moving very quickly, right? So it's not like you're improving your rate of producing force or power, but by improving your slow strength, what that does, it improves your ability to move off or develop momentum. So that short sprint that you want to do, if you are not strong in the legs and strong around the core and strong across the shoulder girdle, you're going to move off very slowly. All right. And that will overall impact the amount of speed because you won't have the same amount of momentum behind you once you get up to your current top speed. But also, we have exercises that we consider to be fast speed exercises, like plyometric exercises, right? That actually improve your rate of force production and your ability to produce forces quickly. Now, your plyometric exercises utilize what we call a stretch shortening reflex. That is, you exhibit what we call a pre-jump, right, or a pre-activity. Then you stiffen the joints, and then basically you're bouncing, you're producing force out of the ligaments. That's the easiest way for me to explain it. So that is what we call fast strength, and you can gain fast strength through the upper body, through the core, and through the lower body, through lots of different varieties of exercise. So you can use, I love to use medicine balls with my athlete. Medicine ball is just a weighted ball. So you hold on to the ball and you throw it against the wall, and then it rebounds, and then now you have to catch the ball, feel your muscles lengthen as the tendons stretch, and then you have to rebound the ball quickly. And you do it in lots of different planes and lots of different types of throwing activities. Also, you can improve the strength of the core using that activity, and you can also improve the fast strength in the legs by doing types of jump training that we call plyometrics, where you jump either over a small hurdle, a medium hurdle, a high hurdle. You can also jump from a box and rebound off of it, whether rebounding for height or distance. All right, so there's lots of ways to train this fast strength using plyometric type activities. And those plyometric type activities ultimately improve your ability to produce power at high speeds. All right. So we have covered now 3 important reasons that all athletes should be engaging in proper strength training. One is injury prevention, right? The second reason is improving your movement economy, or your ability to do the same exercise or complete your sport with far less energy. And the third one being your improvement in speed and power. All right. The fourth important reason, and I mean, when you think about it, it's going to seem very counterintuitive, is to improve your endurance. All right. So let's think about it from this point of view. If I have a cup full of water, right? And now let me not put it that way. If I am strong enough to move my body weight, but no stronger. So let's say I can do a body weight squat, right? And you ask me to do as many body weight squats as I can. And I go, all right, I start doing this squats, like, I'm going up and down and I'm squatting. I'm going to fatigue a lot faster than if my legs are strong enough to squat 2 times my body weight. Because now, if I train myself up to squat 2 times my body weight, squatting my body weight is such an easy task that I can go for way longer just repeatedly doing body weight squats without becoming fatigued. And that's what we call endurance, your ability of the muscles to do work over time. So by getting stronger, you improve your body's and your muscles' ability to do work for an extended period of time. There are limits to it, of course, but the general principle applies that strength not only equals speed, but our strength not only improves speed to a large degree, but it also improves endurance. All right. So very, very, very important. And this is why I think sometimes when I get the objection of like endurance athletes, like middle distance athletes, 800-meter runners, 1500-meter runners, people that run 5 kilometer, 10K and marathons, to going into the gym and getting strong using conventional methods. They're like, oh, that doesn't apply to my sport because my sport is more about stamina. Well, if you become stronger, and especially if you improve the strength across both limbs and both sides of the body, and especially through what we call certain fascial planes, your endurance automatically improves. So the whole idea of, I'm an endurance athlete, I run 5K, I run marathons, I don't need to do any strength work because this is not what I do. Going in the gym gonna make me a bodybuilder. That's not true, right? Going into the gym and with a properly targeted workout is actually going to improve your endurance, because you're going to be able to move for longer periods of time without fatigue. All right. So we've covered already now, we've covered 4 points. We've covered the injury reduction or injury prevention. We've covered an improvement in your movement economy, your ability to move effortlessly or with less effort and being more efficient. We've covered an improvement in your speed and power, and we've improved your endurance through strength training. And we're going to cover now another important, and I think possibly in terms of producing dynamic athletes, that is athletes that are able to learn quickly, adapt quickly, and outshine their competitors. Balanced muscle development. And hear me, listen good. I am not talking about bodybuilding muscle. I don't coach bodybuilders. I've deliberately never coached bodybuilders. I coach athletes, people who want to be athletic, right? You have to balance out your muscle development. Otherwise, you will end up with these weak links in your performance, and you don't know where these weak links come from. You just know that you become fatigued at a certain point, or no matter how hard you try, you're not responding properly in training or in the competitive zone to the different requirements of your sport. You won't know. What is happening is that you have an imbalance in your muscle development, whether it is right side stronger than left side, whether it is lower body way too strong for your upper body, whether it is core way too weak to allow the transference of force from the ground up, because on this planet all force comes from the ground. As long as you're standing on planet Earth competing in a sport, all force starts from the ground up. Your ability to kick a ball starts first with your stability on the ground. From the ground up, all forces flow. All right? So if the core is too weak to allow the transference of that force, you will never become the athlete you're meant to become. It just won't happen, right? There are other what we call fascial slings, or groups of muscles that are very finely interlinked. So there are slings that cross your body that move from the lower body, from, let's say, from the right big toe, comes up the leg along the front of the leg, and then crosses over once it gets to the abdominal and crosses over to the opposite shoulder. Those slings are part of the reason why when people run, they they tend to do a kind of crossing motion like this. All right. So if you're not balanced in that way either, it won't work out. So we've covered those 5 important reasons to get into the gym, to get your strength training done, and to get it done properly. I hope I've actually given you guys um, a lot of value through this discussion, and I hope to see you on the next slide. Thank you.